Absolutely. And also why, also it's people just assume, that everybody who does acupuncture does the same acupuncture. People assume that acupuncture is the same in every country, and it's very different. The situation in the UK is very different from the situation in Australia. And we thought we could only tell our story, but we thought that was interesting because it says a lot for when you're setting something up. These things do come along that you cannot expect. Like we have the National Health Service, they carry on in as they do, and acupuncture was getting very accepted in the NHS, and a lot of our graduates worked in pain clinics in the NHS, but then the NHS they created a body that was responsible for authorizing what could and couldn't be done in the NHS, because what is done in the NHS has to be done for everybody because it's public medicine. And this was all this evidence-based medicine which really pushed the kind of doing everything by randomized controlled trials, which for Chinese medicine is crazy. You just wouldn't, it's randomized controlled trials are for drugs that are tested against a placebo, whereas energetic medicine, how do you get a placebo? So they make up placebos and they do all this research, and basically because the placebo isn't really a placebo, it isn't inert, it's just sticking a needle in another point, you get a pretty good reaction. So acupuncture wasn't showing itself as better than placebo. And it took years for people to challenge that maybe it was the placebo that was the problem, not the acupuncture. Because when it was tested against doing nothing, both the placebo and the acupuncture did way better than doing nothing. So, when the placebo was sticking a needle in a bit further away from the real point or something like that. So it's just these things come along, and who would anticipate that? That you'd get a completely different way of your expectation about how something's supposed to work. And interestingly, there was a lot of antagonism for that kind of science against Chinese medicine here. I know there's a lot in the States as well, because I've read the blogs of a particular guy there, and I guess you have it in Australia as well. But they the Western medics who are more pro acupuncture tend to be the anaesthetists, the clinicians, because nobody would test that with a randomized controlled trial. That would be considered stupid. So they are much more prepared to look at things on an energetic level than the hardcore physiologists who think you can do everything in a test tube and stuff. So that's part of the journey.